ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Slipstream Racing, where we are racing the VRC Formula 1 cars around the Pinwheel GP this week around. Happy New Year to everybody. Hope you had a wonderful holiday. Now it's time to test out that wonderful new sim rig and gear that you may have gotten from Santa Claus throughout the holiday season. New year, new excitement for all of the drivers. We've got an action-packed championship coming at you live from the Pinwheel circuit, brought to you by Slipstream Racing. Without any further delay, let's get right over into the qualifying session and see what the drivers are all up to right now. It's about 3 minutes into qualifying. The drivers are just getting done with their outlaps this time around, and we'll get ready to get onto their flyers here in a moment. We're looking at the man, the myth, the legend. It is Cody Lawrence himself. Right now, he leads this championship with 2 wins under his belt, 1 silver medal and 1 bronze medal. His lowest result being at Estering with 19 points to his name, but did pretty well here at the Nürburgring, the Eiffel GP 2022 that we just ran, and I expect Cody Lawrence to do pretty well as he possibly can at the Pinwheel circuit here. In case you're not familiar with the Pinwheel GP, it is a, I believe, made up circuit, so it won't pop up on any race calendars other than Assetto Corsa. You're gonna have to learn the track and the corner names with me as we get the race going underway. Second place right now is going to be Sean Moriarty. They're holding down with 89 points, just 2 points shy of Cody Lawrence out in P1. Trent H in P3 with 54 points to their name. And Pete Rader with 42 points to their name. Matt Chevry with in 5th place with 39 points to their name. Colin Edwards in 6th. Grant Worley in 7th place. Ryan Earl in 8th. Jaden Neal down in 9th place with 19 points accumulative so far after 3 DNSs. Did not start during the first 3 rounds. Joining us in round 4, I believe Jaden Neal is out here on circuit right now in this qualifying session. Yes, he is in the number 77, out in 1st place right now in front of Mr. Cody Lawrence. Twisted Jack in 10th place. Then we've got James Shorter in 11th and Cameron Ketchen in 12th place in this championship. With DNSs since the first round, Cameron Ketchen has only showed up for the 1, and it looks like Shorter has taken a DNS for rounds 2 and round 4. Jade Neal off into the pits right now, getting a new change of rubbers and potentially topping off with a little bit more fuel to get rolling again. We still have 14 minutes left in this qualifying session, so plenty of time yet to get things going, but it'll be hard-pressed to believe that he can do anything better than his 123.7 that he's previously put down. But Jaden Neal could be out here to prove me wrong, going a little bit faster this time around with the 123.7. Cody Lawrence with a 123.9. Pete Rader with a 125.4, 25.5 for Moriarty. Trent H with a 125.8 as well. Things get inverted for 6th and 7th place as Grant Worley does a 126.2. 124.8 pops up for Edwards. Bumps everybody down. So Rader in 4th place, Moriarty in 5th, Trent H in 6th, Worley in 7th, Shorter in 8th. Fowers and Chevry still have not done a lap just yet. Taking a look at the live timing right now, Cody Fowers is out there looking to improve. Sector 1 was green. Sector 2 and 3 were also green. The DRS activated for Chevry right now. It looks like Chevry throws down to 124.9. Not too shabby out of the number 16 car. Here's Trent H doing a 125.8. Are they on pace to do anything better? They're green through Sector 1 right now. 26.4, but look at Jaden Neal with purple Sector 1 lap time right now. But Cody Lawrence has taken a purple Sector 2 out of him. And a green Sector 3, Cody Lawrence improves to a 123.8. That last lap around does pretty well on that last lap, best lap on the C3 compound tires. And as Jaden Neal crosses the line for that 123.6, purple through Sector 1, green in Sector 2. And a mild improvement through Sector 3. Let's see if we can get an onboard shot at what a lap around the Pinwheel circuit would be like. Matt Chevry practicing his pit stops coming in right now. As Mr. Mike Noss would always say, practice, practice, practice your pit entry. And Chevry sure is doing that to make sure he doesn't get any speed token violations for crossing the pit line. See if we can go on board with Cody Lawrence. Nope, Cody Lawrence also practicing his pit stop this time around. And Jaden Neal pulling off the circuit. Looks like he has just invalidated his lap as he regenerates as much of the MGUK as he possibly can. Dipping and diving out of the way for most of the drivers as he comes around turn 11 and the Sector 2-3 line will be completed. This is turn 14 that he just came through. And under the Pinwheel Bridge we go, and let's go on board. See if we can catch a flying lap out of Jaden Neal. Nope, Jaden Neal also not giving us a flying lap as he practiced his pit entry. Sean Moriarty out there not improving really, but Colin Edwards is green through Sector 1 right now, is able to do a 124.9. 124.8 just nips his way in front of Sean Moriarty with a 124.9, excuse me. 124.9 as well for Matt Chevry. The times in the mid-pack are awfully close. The times at the front are awfully close. 123.6 to 123.8. That's a blink of an eye between the two drivers. And not even a tenth separating P3 through P5 right now. 125.4 set by Grant Worley. Trent H with a 125.1, 125.1 also for Pete Rader. doing pretty well right now around the Pinwheel circuit. I think the drivers might be getting a little fatigued around this circuit. As most of them have either come in or are tiptoeing around the track right now, and potentially just getting some practice laps in. As you can see, the queue is building up. Colin Edwards in third place. Trailing behind is Cody Fowers. In 10th place, the number 44 McLaren livery car. Colin Edwards in the number 14 Aston Martin liveried vehicle. These are the virtual racing clubs, VRC. I want to make sure I got that right. Virtual racing cars, excuse me. These are the VRC AC mod pack, which is available on the VRC's website in case you are interested in grabbing yourself one of these and toting around and see how fast you can possibly go. You can find yourself driving a Formula One car around imaginary tracks like the Pinwheel circuit. You can see all the beautiful pinwheels lined up to get us going here down the start-finish straight. Keeping an eye on the live timing yet again, Jaden Neal finds himself with a purple sector 1, 25.7 for that first sector, 30.6 for sector 2. Finds himself only going green and cannot find a purple sector there. See what he has in the bag coming through sector 3 when he gets to the line. He's about to conclude his lap. Just coming underneath the Pinwheel Bridge right now. It is a green sector 2. Last lap around was a 123.5. He does find the pace in sector 3. It's not a personal best, but he was improving enough through sector 1 to be able to pull that out of his hat. A 123.5, 3/10 is the gap right now between himself and Cody Lawrence in P2. The gap still remains between Colin Edwards with his 124.4 and Sean Moriarty's 124.9. Matt Chevry with his 124.9 as well. And back to P6, Pete Rader with a 125.1, 125.1 also for Trent H. Looks like Jaden Neal just threw another fast lap at 123.534. No, that still stands. New personal best by Sean Moriarty with a 124.2. As he finds himself improving just a little bit, tumbles himself up into third place overall. Colin Edwards finds himself that 124.4. A little bit of improvement would have been good enough for third place, but Sean Moriarty finds himself improving also on that same lap as the track is rubbering in. Track has gone optimum, 100% there for the grip. Track temperature 19 degrees Celsius, ambient temperature 19 degrees Celsius. Track temperature 29 degrees Celsius with a 5 kilometers per hour crosswind coming in from the north to south. Chevry comes in across the line with a 124.5. That gap is still coming down between the three of them. 124.2, 124.4, 124.5. It was close a couple of minutes ago, but now it remains about the same. Status quo between the drivers. I believe Jaden Neal must have reached the pinnacle of his lap time at the Pinwheel circuit because he is sitting in pits and resting his shoulders right now, head over heels onto P1 provisionally with his 123.534. 3 minutes, 20 seconds left on the clock, everybody. We've got just a little bit more time remaining in this qualifying session before the race gets underway. And this will be a 36-lap race at around 123 a lap. It should be a fairly quick one. About a 51-minute race for us to partake in. Not too shabby at all. The drivers will have a quick one to get underway with. And we're listening to some of the drivers talk before this session got underway to find out if this was going to be a one-stop or a two-stop race. And it seems like some of the drivers are probably going to go for a one-stop this time around. So expect to see the hard and medium compound tires rain a little bit harder than some of the other softer compound tires. We'll have to keep an eye on that on our tower. Keep track of which each driver is going to be using. And we'll try to get the predictions in and predictions right about when the drivers will come into the pit lane. But no promises here that they will be correct, as the drivers have a mind of their own, and they of course know best when they'll decide to come in. No race engineers are present for these crew members. They're just going by feel, touch, and intuition. Using their pit HUDs that are available to them to be able to predict it, and also go with their lap times that they've been able to set in practice and see if they can push these tires to that 16, 18 lap mark to go for that one-stop strategy. Some drivers might be faster earlier on in the session due to the soft compound that they end up running, and then therefore take a harder compound tire later on in the session. And we'll have to see how that fares. We have seen a couple of upsets so far due to tire compound changes. Sean Moriarty at Sepang as well as Estoril getting wins for themselves. 25 points haul on each of those occasions, but I believe those races all came down to tire choice and tire management. So it's not going to be down to the pace alone of what each driver can provide, but it will be up to the consistency that they are able to drive as well as their tire management. And Cody Fowers having a bit of a spin, it looks like, through turn 10. Getting the car spun around the right direction, still green through sector 1, but having a bit of an issue there through sector 2. 2 DRS zones here at the Pinwheel circuit. One coming out of turn 4 and in towards turn 6 at the top of your screen, and then another at turn 12 all the way down in towards turns 1 braking zone. And that'll be it for the qualifying session. Cody Lawrence in P2, Jaden Neal in P1. 23.6 comes in just as Cody Lawrence crosses the line in that number 11 Red Bull vehicle, but still 1/10 shy of finding himself on that inside line, as there's a car finding himself near adjacent to the track surface, but not quite there. Pete Rader, what does he have when he gets to the line? He gets to the line. Can he improve at all? 125.1 is the lap time to beat. 124.8 is his new personal best, but not good enough to move him out of P6. Trent H in P7 right now with a 125.1. Probably not out there to improve in that Prism vehicle. No, he comes into the pits to practice those crucial pit entries, and we did see a unpracticed pit stop take away the championship lead from a driver I believe that was Cody Lawrence. He's still in the championship lead. I apologize for that misinformation. But he did get a stop. No, not a stop go. He did get a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. But it didn't affect his race too much, as Sean Moriarty was able to claim that one away from him. And Jaden Neal, the last of the drivers to come around the circuit now in the number 77. Doing a good job of keeping it on the black stuff here at the Pinwheel track. Coming through Sector 3, turn 13. And turn 14 now. And that'll conclude this qualifying session. The drivers are gonna get gridded up in just a few moments now. I am your host, Mr. Sagar Bakshi, driving the safety car in 11th place right now, not setting a lap for all the drivers, unfortunately. Hopefully that's still good enough for us. We are just waiting for the server to tick over to the race session right now, and we will get underway. Jaden Neal leads in P1 over Cody Lawrence in P2, Moriarty in 3rd place, Edwards in 4th place, Chevry in 5th place, Raider in 6th place, Trent H in 7th, Worley in 8th, Shorter in 9th, and Fowers into 10th position. Give you the brief rundown of the championship standings yet again. As we wait for the drivers to get gridded up, Lawrence leads over Moriarty by just 2 points right now. Then Trent H with 54, best of the rest, leads over 42 points to Pete Raider. Chevry in 39 with 39 points. Edwards with 26. Worley with 22. And are we not seeing Ryan Earl? We're not seeing Ryan Earl tonight. Mr. Second place for the Estering race. Took a DNS for the Nürburgring and a DNS obviously for the Pinwheel track. Unfortunate to not see him on the grid tonight. Jaden Neal leads over Cody Lawrence for the outside line going in towards turn 1. I wonder if that'll help out Cody Lawrence. Sean Moriarty in 3rd place, Colin Edwards in 4th place, Chevry in 5th place, Raider in 6th place, Trent H in 7th, Worley in 8th, Shorter in 9th, Fowers in 10th, and that'll be it for the starting grid for us, folks. Waiting for the Christmas tree to become illuminated, and we'll start this 36-lap race around the Pinwheel GP circuit. And the Christmas tree is now becoming illuminated with 6 red lights. Jaden Neal revving his engine. 6 lights are on, and away we go, folks. Green, green, green into turn 1. It looks like Jaden Neal will hold on to P1. Side-by-side action between Cody Lawrence and Sean Moriarty. And who is that? Is that Edwards tumbling down the order? Or no, that would be Sean Moriarty tumbling down the order deep now into the pack. Back into 10th place, the McLaren car not doing so well. Lunge up the inside, able to get by Chevry and Fowers very quickly, doing a quick job of recovering those positions. But unfortunately, tumbled back to at least 10 seconds away from the leaders at this point in time. The drivers are all coming through Sector 1 very neatly as they just conclude, and then they just go into Sector 2 during the DRS point when they cross underneath the next pedestrian bridge. Matt Chevry disqualified for teleporting to the pits. That'll be unfortunate. Colin Edwards now, the next of the drivers to find themselves off in the S's, down in 9th place. They're stuck at the bridge, it looks like, at turn 7. But got themselves repositioned and on their way forward. Jaden Neal, Cody Lawrence, Pete Rader, Grant Worley, Trent H., James Shorter, Sean Moriarty, Fowers, and then Edwards are the 9 drivers still remaining in this epic race. Let's check out Worley chasing down Pete Rader. The gap is under 1 second right now, waiting for DRS to become enabled after the first lap. Then we'll really start seeing the gaps start to close down. For DRS to become enabled, you have to be within 1 second. That means under 1 second of a gap to the car in front. Jaden Neal right now is battling it out with Cody Lawrence up at the front. The kit car, or the state car, getting chased down by the Oracle vehicle, the number 11. Oh, and Cody Fowers finds himself off into the kitty litter at turn 4, it looks like, getting that one spun around the wrong way, but getting resumed on circuit in that Mercedes number 44, the Lewis Hamilton car. Number 11, the Max Verstappen number car, chasing down the 77. That should be Valtteri Bottas's number, if I'm not mistaken. Valtteri Bottas, of course, moving back over to Mercedes for the 2025 season, and perhaps we'll see Jaden Neal change his livery as well to a Mercedes 77 in the near future. The gap has come down to around 0.8 of a second. As we approach the DRS detection point, we'll see that rear wing open up for Cody Lawrence and allow him to gain some traction. There it is. The rear wing is now fully open and closing down the gap very swiftly. 28.3 to 28.1 right now are the lap times, and they're going Cody Lawrence's way by just a few tenths. But that's all he needs to stay within touching distance of the car in front. Cody Lawrence and Jaden Neal battling out for P1, P2. Grant Worley and Pete Rader battling it out for 3rd and 4th right now. 4 tenths is the gap between these two drivers. Let's see how they fare. Grant Worley really able to close down during turn 5 and turn 6. During that detection point zone, made for a lunge there on the inside line on Rader out in front, but no touching there. Just a near miss, I would say. Rader looks a little off kilter right now. Let's check out what tires each driver's on. All of the drivers have selected that C1 hard compound tire. You can tell by the white wall tires. Don't be fooled by Grant Worley's red illuminated rims. He has white walled tires, meaning he is on the hard compound. Yellow being the medium compound and red being the soft compound. So C1, C2, and C3 tires will be available to all of them. And it looks like the drivers will be splitting this one down the middle this time around. progress made right now. Jaden Neal lost nothing, gained nothing, along with Cody Lawrence. Raider has gained 3 positions from the start of qualifying. And Grant Worley is up 4 positions from the start of this race. Trent H up 2. Moriarty's down 3. Colin Edwards down 3 themselves. A bit of a lockup there from Raider out in front of Grant Worley. But the gaps have opened up to around 1 second as Worley almost got a bit squirrely there coming into turns 9 and 10. Almost lost the rear end of his vehicle. You can see it in the way he was motioning that car, but able to keep it on the black stuff. Open the gap though, 1.3 now. In touch with Sean Moriarty, who's on a recovery drive after losing it early on. Moriarty, or is that Trent H? Excuse me, Moriarty in the background of this 3-way battle. Moriarty trails behind Trent H behind Worley. Times are definitely in Sean Moriarty's books right now. He's gaining a little bit of time and consistency. I wonder if the 2 Prism vehicles are going to work together to try to back up Sean Moriarty. Snapping away to the leaders, Cody Lawrence and Jaden Neal, as they come through what looks like is turn 6 and 7, the end of sector 1. A little bit of a lockup there for Jaden Neal. Uncharacteristic mistake. Small poofs of smoke. His teeth will be rattling by the end of this. And we've already got 5 laps underway, folks. Unbelievable how fast these drivers are. They've already concluded 5 laps. And sooner than later, we'll be at the halfway point of this one. Lap time still going to Cody Lawrence's way. .128.6 to a 127.9 out of Cody Lawrence. 128.4, 128.8 as Cody Lawrence made a small mistake and hiccup that last lap around. But still 3/10 in the gap. Moriarty trying to get around Trent H, seemingly having an accident, it looks like, as both drivers are popping up with red flags. They're at turn 1, Moriarty and Trent H going side by side, I believe, into turn 1, and end up colliding. Moriarty still on that recovery drive, 1.3 away from the car in front. That is now going to be Colin Edwards. Cody Lawrence still chasing down Jaden Neal. I doubt this one's going to go anywhere anytime soon. So let's go ahead and pop up on board and see what Cody Lawrence's POV is after he comes through turn 14. DRS detection point already passed, and now the DRS flap should be open. Braking right around the 100 meter all the way down into 3rd gear for turn 1. Turn 2, just a little bit of a kink, all the way up into 7th gear, a little bit of a lift, you heard it there. A downshift with turn 3 and turn 4 into 5th gear, and bang it back up into 7th gear, even 8th gear now, as we see the beautiful Pinwheel roller coaster as we approach the hairpin of turn 6. Another lockup from Jaden Neal. The gap comes down to 0.4 of a second. Looking towards the inside line is Cody Lawrence on Jaden Neal, but no pouncing to be made just yet. You can see the regeneration light blinking on Jaden Neal's car. coming around turns 8, 9, 10, and now through 11, 12, 13. The sweeping S's. And this is turn 13 and 14 now. And that's a lap around Pinwheel. It happens so fast in a blink of an eye. Hold on, let's check out Colin Edwards, as he was 2/10 away from Grant Worley for just a second. Colin Edwards was starting this race off in P3, now tumbles down to P5, has quite a way to go to catch back up. Looks like Colin Edwards and Moriarty got involved, and Worley got into an accident there at turn 1. And Sean Moriarty is the one to gain out over all of them, as he's now up into 5th place. Turn 1 seems to be the bane of everybody's moves. Possibly one of the best passing opportunities you're going to get at the end of a long DRS detection point, but the drivers maybe not be pulling alongside at that point. Sean Moriarty, the tire whisperer, knows his tires best. Let's see what his strategy might be as we're a quarter way through this race. McLaren looks to the inside line, fully alongside already at the breaking point of turn 1, goes to the inside line, has it signed, sealed, and delivered. And oh, maybe not, as Worley tries to snap right back at turn 2, but can't get fully alongside, as Moriarty was weaving across the track to return to the racing line. Blocked off Worley's attempts, and Worley's not going to be too pleased about that one. Now Worley trails behind Moriarty by just 0.4 of a second, but the battle's still on between these two as they get to the end of turn 6 and in towards turn 7. Worley has a little bit of a wiggle there, getting on the accelerator pedal. But no harm, no foul. Still 0.7 the difference between these two drivers. Same gap that we're looking at between P1 and P2. The dirty air that these drivers have got to be sitting in through this fast and flowy section is probably very challenging for them to contend with right now, as I can only imagine so that affects their downforce. 127.7, 127.7, nearly identical lap times for P1 and P2 right now. 128.7 for Pete Rader. With 27 laps remaining, still plenty of action yet to come. Another big lockup from both drivers in P1 and P2. .6 separating them right now. This is the closest battle that we have on track. Let's see if we get another TV camera. Look at them weaving through turns 14 and 15. Excuse me, 13 and 14 now. Doing the best they can to keep it between the mayo and the mustard. 127.9 to 127.7. The times are going Cody Lawrence's way for now. Pete Rader in third place with a 129.0. Should be feeling pretty comfortable right now with that third place. Looking well in the 55 Ferrari, the Carlos Sainz numbered vehicle. Again, the driver is locking up as they come into turn 6. Small little poofs of smoke being expunged from those brake ducts. Looking over Pete Rader's shoulder right now on his way forward, looking for P2 and P1. 9.2 seconds is the gap between P2 and P3 right now. Looks like Cody Lawrence and Jaden Neal are just driving on a whole nother planet. These guys are absolute aliens in these VRC F1 cars. DRS flap is open for Cody Lawrence. Gets to the line. 128.1, 128.1 as well. The gap's not going anywhere between these two drivers. It's going to remain right there. And there goes Colin Edwards off at turn 13, it looks like. And Colin Edwards is stuck there, beached into the kitty litter, unable to recover that vehicle. And he might end up locked out into 7th place to end his race. Oh, Colin Edwards trying to reverse, trying to get it into gear, but he is beached on the gravel. That'll be the third DNF of the night. Colin Edwards, Trent H., and Cody Fowers taking DNFs for this one at the Pinwheel Grand Prix. On the rear wing of Jaden Neal, looking backwards at Cody Lawrence. 5/10 is the gap separating P1 and P2, opening up to around 0.8 of a second, but it looks like Cody Lawrence closing down under the braking section towards 14. Late to get on the accelerator though. He will get the DRS activated. We will see that open up here in just a second. Let's see. He is getting that activated. Back to Jaden Neal. Looking towards the inside line, cheeky as Cody Lawrence was 0.4 faster that previous lap around, but looks like that wasn't close enough. He's going to have to maintain this gap coming in through the entire lap before he can make another passing opportunity at turn 1, but will that be the only passing opportunity he can make? Cody Lawrence says no, but Jaden Neal says yes. Not the entry of turn 4. Coming into turn 6 will be the next opportunity. 0.3 is the gap right now. Closing down steadily as Cody Lawrence chasing down Jaden Neal. Opened up the gap to around 5/6 of a second now. Can Cody Lawrence retaliate coming into the braking of turn 14 again? He's awfully better through here, and this is where he needs to be faster in a straight line. Cody Lawrence having a big wiggle coming out of turn 14, and that'll close down nothing for him coming in towards turn 1. Almost 1 second of a gap now separates the two drivers. 128.2 to 128.6 lap after lap. Time is going one way and then it goes the other way for the following lap. Cody Lawrence has to draw in his focus and his concentration right now as we approach the roller coaster section of turn 2, turn 3, turn 4. Cody Lawrence closing down the gap at turn 6 yet again. Looking towards the inside line, backs out of it, returning back over to the racing line. Cheeky look there, coming in through 9 and 10 now. Now stuck in the dirty air through the twisty bits, 11, 12, and 13. You see both cars harvesting energy. And will Cody Lawrence be too far back to get DRS activated this lap around? I'm not so sure. 8.5 tenths right now is the gap. 1 second is the gap you need to maintain to get DRS activated. It looks like just barely for Cody Lawrence this time around. 128.3, 128.3 for both drivers at the front. Nearly identical lap times yet again. I don't know how many times I'm going to have to say that, but it's lap after lap, I believe, that these drivers are pulling out nearly identical lap times with very similar pace to each other. It was awfully close in qualifying, just a couple of tenths separated P1 and P2, but Jaden Neal's doing a good job driving this one forward right now and maintaining that lead and consistency without the help of any DRS activation. Cody Lawrence is possibly the closest he's been in a long time. There goes a huge mistake from Jaden Neal, and he tumbles away and out of P1. Cody Lawrence slips right on by, and that was the only mistake that Jaden Neal was allowed to make for this entire race. But Cody Lawrence capitalized on that exit from turn 14 and was able to get the move done and dusted. Good job and good driving out of Cody Lawrence. A little bit of a slip up there from Jaden Neal in the background. He's 1.9 off the good from Cody Lawrence out in front. Just as we approach the halfway point, you thought it couldn't get any closer, but this is going to be interesting. Did Jaden Neal damage those tires or get them dirty enough to warrant an early pit stop or not? Will he potentially go for an undercut over the next 2 laps? Expecting the drivers to split this one down the middle right at 18 laps or 19 laps. Pinwheel Circuit is a 5.6 kilometer layout designed with flow in mind and fun to drive high-speed cars, particularly single-seaters. There is a short layout to the Pinwheel Circuit, a 2.9 kilometer circuit. Pinwheel's designed around a power generation theme, old and new. Track has high-resolution physical mesh, Grass FX lights, pit sounds, fast and competitive AI, camera animations, and 32 pit box total. Track is optimized for performance. A conscious attempt to account for my own admittedly average hardware, but hopefully not to spoil immersion too much for those with better systems than the creator. A beautiful circuit that was created by fans for fans of Corsa. And the gap has stayed right around 2.2 seconds right now after Jaden Neal's mistake at the exit of turn 14, and he's been unable to recover since then. Tentative to get on the throttle pedal. Coming out of turn 5, Jaden Neal being extra careful right now. I think he's a little bit scared after that slip up that he had coming out of turn 14, where the rear end just came around on him. Potentially overheated those tires early on in the stint and is now facing the repercussions for those actions. Cody Lawrence doing pretty well right now. Live timing says that the last lap from Cody Lawrence was a 127.9 compared to a 128.4 from Jaden Neal. And now, will Jaden Neal decide to come into the pits this time around? No, not quite yet, he says. Stays on the C1 compound tire for now. They're approaching the back of James Shorter. Shorter staying out of the way of the 2 leaders of this race, allowing the rest of the field to drive right on through. Good heads up driving from James Shorter to mind the blue flag rules. Third place of Pete Rader right now is 15 seconds away from Jaden Neal in the Ferrari 55. Last lap around for Pete Rader was a 129.0. Sean Moriarty is 11 seconds away from the car in front right now, and let's see if any of the drivers have decided to make a pit stop yet. No pit stops for any of the drivers just yet. But I am seeing a slow lap time out of Sean Moriarty, a 137.9. Grant Worley with a 131.0, so maybe Sean Moriarty having another slight mistake. As now Moriarty gets around Shorter as well. 135.3. What is it going to be? 128.8 for Moriarty. Rader is into the pit lane, though, to get a change of tires. And let's see what Rader decides to change out onto as we approach that halfway point of the race. I believe he is on those white-walled tires. Yes. Big clouds of smoke getting illuminated from those tires. But I am seeing white-walled tires. He's back onto the C1 compound yet again. No, excuse me. Raiders on the C2 compound. Grant Worley switching over to the C2 compound as well right now. See if we can get another look at these tires. I am seeing white, but excuse me if I'm mistaken. And those are the C1 compounds. 21 laps out of 36. We are 31 and a half minutes into this race, folks. Moriarty into the pits this time around. That'll give the position back to Pete Rader. As Sean Moriarty comes out of pit lane. .8 the gap between the leaders right now. Sean Moriarty trails by 10.2 behind Pete Rader. Have to keep an eye on the lap times. About 14 seconds is what that pit stop cost Sean Moriarty there. Pete Rader is on pace for doing personal bests right now. Yellow through sector 1, but green through sector 2. That extra grip really giving him the confidence that he needs to come through. Grant Worley in the number 60 car in 5th place. 32 seconds away from Moriarty out in front. And the leader is still not coming into the pits despite doing 128.6 to a 128.3. Cody Lawrence losing 0.3 that lap to Jaden Neal. Pete Rader just pulled out a purple sector 1 though, 26.7. See if he can maintain that speed through sector 2. Cody Lawrence now into the pits, and Jaden Neal follows suit into the pits that same lap around, nearly identical lap times, 133.9 to a 134.0. Keep an eye out for any mistakes in pit lane. I don't believe that there were any. And Jaden Neal has his work cut out for him on lap 23 out of 36. Jaden Neal going over the curbs a little aggressively there, trying to close down that gap as much as possible on his outlap, but potentially with cold tires not feeling the same grip and consistency that he had just a few moments ago. C2 compound for all the drivers now. Cody Lawrence pulling out a 10th improvement that lap over Jaden Neal, but the gap still came down somehow during that pit stop cycle to around 3 seconds. It was at 3.5 when they came in, and now down to 3.1 between the two of them. Matt's letting me know. Thank you very much. The C1 and C2 are differentiated by a white bar. Same with the C4 and C5, both red. The one has a red bar between the lettering. Unfortunately, they don't automatically change depending on tire availability. Thank you very much for letting me know that. I appreciate you, Matt. Sorry to see your race end so soon. We still got plenty of action yet to go at the Pinwheel circuit with 24 out of 36 laps completed. And Cody Lawrence and Jaden Neal putting on a heck of a bout for us. Still interested to see how Sean Moriarty's performance is going to do. Will he be able to climb into the top 3, or is P4 as high as that man can climb right now without putting on a respirator? Purple Sector 1 for Raider that previous lap around, but Purple Sector 2 comes out for Cody Lawrence. Snatched away is Sector 3 for Jaden Neal. He grabs a Purple Sector 3 that last lap. Clinches it away from Cody Lawrence in P1. Both drivers improving. Last lap's time was a 1:26.0. 1:26.0 for both of them on the C2 compound tire. All drivers have taken one pit stop so far. So we'll end this race on an even keel in just 11 laps time. James Shorter in the Panther Racing 05. Last lap around did a 1:33.9. 1:27.7 for Grant Worley, his personal best. Out there looking to improve on the C2 compound, and he's doing so. Purple Sector 1 for Cody Lawrence. Purple Sector 2 for Cody Lawrence. He's doing about a quarter of a second faster than he ever has around this track. Gets to the line, 1:25.7 being his last lap, and that'll be his best lap of this stint. And he's losing touch with Jaden Neal behind, as Jaden Neal's last lap was a 1:26.1, so the gap is ever so slightly increasing between Cody Lawrence and Jaden Neal. James Shorter, green through Sector 1, 27.7 for that sector. 33.4 through Sector 2. It'll be yellow for him. See how he fares coming through Sector 3, turn 14 now. A little bit of a wiggle there on the accelerator. Regeneration has turned off, or back on, excuse me. You can see it blinking intermittently. No DRS to be found on this vehicle. Green through Sector 3 for James Shorter. 1:30.4 is his last lap and his best lap this time around. I will say that Jaden Neal may not be lapping as fast as Cody Lawrence right now, but he's awfully consistent, just within 1/10 of his personal best through this sector. And Jaden Neal snatches away that Purple Sector 3, 27.7 for him. He does do a personal best lap time at 1:25.8. Still about 1/10 slower than Cody Lawrence's best lap, with a 1:25.7 the previous lap around. And Cody Lawrence throws down a 1:26.3. Cody Lawrence in P1, leading by 3.2 seconds in the charge right now. I'm interested to see if Cody Lawrence's consistency will fail at any point in time. Will this man be a mistake? Will he become human? And the answer might be no. As he sets another Purple Sector 1, Yellow Sector 2. Not looking to falter or fail anytime soon. 126-1, 126-1 for both drivers as they cross the line. Both of them doing very well for themselves and being Mr. Consistency overall. Just as we approach the 3/4 way mark of this race, just about 9 remaining as the drivers are going forward. Only 6 combatants remain from the 10 drivers who started this grid off. The 6th place car of James Shorter dips and dives out of the way, keeping clear of the 2 battling duo of Cody Lawrence and Jaden Neal for P1, P2. It's 1:41 p.m. somewhere in the UK at the Pinwheel circuit. Track temperature has come down to 28 degrees Celsius, 19 degrees is the ambient. Track has still remained optimum, 5 km/h crosswind coming from the north to south. Lap 29 out of 36. About to be concluded. A little bit of a lockup there from Cody Lawrence coming into turn 6 again. And maybe that's a sign that he is human or that he's pushing that just a little bit more. No longer am I seeing any improvements on live timing for the drivers. Maybe a little bit of desync now for Cody Lawrence. As his car was moving a little sporadically coming through 14 and onto the front straight. .126 flat to 126 flat for the 2 front runners though. 127.3 for P3, 126.2 for Sean Moriarty in 4th place. At 1 second a lap faster. I don't think that there's enough laps remaining for Sean Moriarty to catch up to Raider to potentially get that 3rd place out of him. And actually, what this is gonna do is this DNF for Trent H is gonna hurt his chances more than anything for P3 in this championship right now, as Trent H has been Mr. Consistency so far. 9 points at Helsinki and 15 points for him in rounds 2, 3, and 4. Finishing things up in the last year at the Nürburgring. Well, the Nürburgring Eifel GP. But this DNS will hurt him a lot, and Pete Rader, although he did have a DNS for round 1, this haul of points, 18 points for him, will promote him into 3rd place and put him at 60 points, so 6 points ahead of Trent H. And Sean Moriarty down in 4th place potentially. Or Sean Moriarty from 2nd place will still hold on to 2nd place, but not by too much any longer. The drivers with 5 laps remaining to go around this quick 80-second lap that they have to contend with. Almost 90 seconds, depending on who you're asking. Drivers will make quick work of the final few laps remaining and get on with it. Cody Lawrence leads over Jaden Neal, Pete Rader in third, Sean Moriarty in fourth, Grant Worley in fifth, Shoulder in sixth, Edwards, Trent H. Fowers dropping out DNFs, as well as Chevry. Couple of cars getting beached, resulting in those DNFs for warping to the pit lane. But not much you can do about that, unfortunately, other than trying to avoid those mistakes. But there's so much gravel here. A lot of these drivers got sucked into it like an anglerfish. Gap has trickled down to 2.5 between Cody Lawrence and Jaden Neal. Very interesting. Looking at the lap timing, Cody Lawrence just got beat by 2/10 of a second the previous lap around, but looks like Jaden Neal might have the consistency going into the final couple of corners. They're about to catch back up to Grant Worley, so DRS will be activated for, I believe, Cody Lawrence here, or not. And Grant Worley pulls over to the side of the road to allow both the leaders through. Lap traffic giveth, lap traffic taketh away. Not here, not at SSR. Very respectful blue flag rules. The drivers keeping their head on a swivel to maintain that respect for all the other drivers out on circuit. One of the things I like to commend all these drivers on is how much attention they're paying to the details of when they are blue flagged or not blue flagged. ACC has blue flag indicators. AC, not so much. Sometimes it's just a man at the marshal stand waving the blue flag. Although with real penalty, you will get blue flag indicators if you have your flags set correctly. And of course, we are using real penalty on these servers to prevent any sort of track limits violations, speeding in the pit violations, etc., etc. Real penalty is a wonderful program to be using if you're hosting an AC lobby, and I believe SSR has got it right, and such is the fact that James Shorter just got 5-second penalty for cutting the track. "34 out of 36 completed, folks. The race is about to conclude, but it feels like it just got underway. The Pinwheel circuit with its fast and flowy sections hasn't led to too many deep braking zone opportunities for the drivers to try to challenge each other at. Been great for entertaining racing, side-by-side action, but we haven't seen a lot of that, as the drivers pretty much found their rhythm on lap 1, and from there on out pretty much held their ground and held their positions from then. Love the way that these VRC cars sound. Just wanted to hear them come by the start-finish line for the penultimate time. see tire marks into the gravel traps all around the circuit as they come through the roller coaster section right now from some of the victims from earlier on in the race. Colin Edwards, Trent H., and Fowers unfortunately getting caught out and unable to finish their races. Cody Lawrence, Jaden Neal, Pete Rader, Sean Moriarty, Grant Worley, and James Shorter have been the combatants to finish out this race. Jaden Neal losing out P1 early on in this stint, in that first stint, due to a mistake coming out of turn 14. A slight slip up getting onto throttle forced him to go towards the grass, and that slowed down his efforts considerably. Cody Lawrence slipped right on through without hesitation. And it's been that way ever since. .126.3 to 126.4. These guys up at the front have been doing identical lap times for the past 40 minutes straight. They're absolutely on one. Phenomenal drivers continuing to push themselves lap after lap without too much as making a mistake. Cody Lawrence may not be a human being. He might be an AI vehicle. I'm not too certain, because I haven't seen him put a foot wrong in the past 50 minutes of this event so far. And Moriarty has, closed down the gap to Rader under 1 second right now, but on the last lap, is it going to be close enough for him to make something happen? Coming in towards turn 6 right now. Small lockups from both of the drivers. It's under 1 second right now. We're going to have to snap away to watch the leaders cross the line in just a few moments. And we'll come right back to this action-packed race in just a second between Sean Moriarty and Pete Rader for the battle for third place. Cody Lawrence getting to the line for the final time will take P1. And it looks like Jaden Neal will finish second place. Rader in third place, potentially not though, as Sean Moriarty tries to close down the gap coming into turn 14. He will have DRS coming into the front straightaway. They're both very, very cautious to get on the accelerator, but it looks like that gap is not close enough for Sean Moriarty. He's trying to trail down Pete Rader as he gets to the line. Will it be enough? No. Pete Rader finishes third. Moriarty finishes fourth, just 3/10 away from the car in front on the final lap. If only he found a little bit more pace somewhere on circuit, he could have made that dream a reality. Grant Worley in 5th place. James Shorter will cross the line into 6th place. James Shorter crosses the line to finish out this amazing Pinwheel Grand Prix race. 15 seconds added to his final time. Although that won't affect him in the standings at all. That will conclude us up at the Pinwheel circuit, folks. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. Thank you very much for a wonderful showing again by the Slipstream racing community. This has been race 5 at the Pinwheel GP. Next week, where are we going to be headed? We are going to be headed to the Formula 1 Pacific Grand Prix, which will be exciting to see for certain. That looks like Mount Fuji if I've ever seen it. I'm super excited for the Fuji Speedway. That's another fast and flowing track that we're going to have to get underway with. But the most important thing that we're going to see is a lot of action going in towards turn 1, as well as going into the final corner through some of the twisty bits, especially coming out of 130R and into the Dunlop chicane. Looking forward to some more action-packed racing. If you find yourself interested in joining the Slipstream racing community, go ahead and check them out. Go ahead and find them on AssetoHosting.com. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. Thank you very much to all the drivers for your participation. Really love the support that everybody's been able to provide, and hopefully we'll see you out on track next week. Take care, have a wonderful night, and as always, please remember to stay safe out there. Goodbye.